All right. How are you guys doing today?
Good. We're doing
Good.
great.
Give me just a quick introduction of who each of you are and who do you work for?
My name is Giovanna Accurso. I'm the Director of Research and Development for both Iverson Family Farms and FSOil. So it's a combined vertically integrated system. It's also Friday, like Barb said. Um, so we're able to kind of uh, do a lot of work with the plants and how it's impacted in final product. So it's fun to be able to look at it from the field all the way through.
Awesome.
Um,
Yeah,
And my name's Barb Iverson, co-owner of Iverson Family Farms, FSOil, as well as Wooden Shoe Tulip Farm.
awesome. So, my first question is, what is Global Gap certification? If you could put it in a short, an explanation as possible, and for someone who, like me, who's only heard about it until last week.
as quickly as I can. It's a third-party certification that can allow growers of different crops to move into the global marketplace more fluidly. So it just sets standards. Sorry.
That's
Um,
okay. You're good.
it sets standards.
It is Friday. Why are people emailing you at 3 on
I know
Friday?
it's
They
three
should
o'clock
stop
on
it.
Friday. It puts standards in place for health and safety and how the crops are treated from the field all the way through processing to make sure that records are kept and everything is tracked and traced.
And so why does that matter for hemp? So why is it you guys are one of the first, if not the first, I think, Global Gap certified hemp farm in Oregon. So it matters. Why does it matter?
It it matters because I mean it was 2018 that the hemp became federally legal in the United States, and since then, you know, this is a high investment crop for growers. Um, there needs to be a path to market for growers, and we need to set up systems and guidelines and standards as much as we can because the FDA is, you know, doing their homework but being a little bit slower. So we're just kind of taking the lead on this. And by getting global gap certification, it allows for a broader marketplace. So there will be a path to market for these crops.
Yeah, so I know, CBD is sold in grocery stores. You can get it in soap and sodas and water. And so Barb, what does this mean for your product? How do you see it impacting the way that you guys do business?
Well, I think what we want to do is bring some validity to the industry as a whole. I mean, everybody talks about it being the Wild West, and it in a lot of ways it is. There really are no regulations for hemp at all. So that's where we want to set the standard and make sure that people have a trust in the product. And for us, if they can see who's doing it, we've developed a lot of trust over the years with our wooden shoe with our festival that we have, as well as the Iverson Farms, and then through the final product with FSOil. And we've gone into CGMP certification there, the highest standards we can find, kosher, organic. We're striving to bring transparency to this industry and some standards that people can trust. And so for us as a product, it means a lot.
So do you kind of see the market sort of splitting up a little bit and that you have maybe low quality, stuff just getting pumped into the market that maybe no one knows about, but then people who can discern what's good, looking for Global Gap or organic or kosher, just people like you, do you see the market kind of splintering in that way into low quality, high quality, or like you said, it is the Wild West, and so things are still shaping out. How do you see the market?
I see the whole market right now that is there's kind of we're at capacity. The bottom fell out of the grow market last year. There was overproduction. And then the same with the processors. I mean, the oil, there's a lot on the market. There's a lot of sub-quality stuff out there. It's going for cheap, but you don't know if it was made in somebody's basement or backyard or how they did it. And that's not good because, what's the level of THC in it? Was it tested properly? How was it handled? Is the consumer going to get sick? And so if this whole industry wants some validity, we have to step up, and we don't see that action happening really on the federal level in the FDA, or, we have the DEA problems. USDA has done their part, but, the other agencies need to follow. And if this industry is going to continue to grow, we need to step up and do what's right, set a direction of where we want to go.
Yeah. So just to take a step backwards, why did you get into the hemp and CBD market? Tell me an annotated version of that story.
Yeah. So we got into it because of my dad. So he passed away in 2016. But he came home with liver cancer, with a bag of pills, and we were supposed to make him comfortable until he passed away. And, my dad was 90, a rugged farmer, loved farming, loved tractors, you name it. He was a tough old guy, but he was laid out in bed, and you couldn't even have a conversation with him. And we just felt this isn't how we want to. This is how we want to do this. So we contacted my cousin who was in the marijuana business and said, we've heard there's something out there that can help my dad or help dad. And what is it? And he said, well, it's CBD. So we got some capsules and we pulled dad off of everything he was on. It was like 4:00 in the afternoon. Started him every 4 hours on a 10 milligram capsule of CBD. And next morning I walk in the house and he's at the table eating breakfast. And I mean, it was so powerful for us.
Yeah.
We were all in right then. And we had a month and a half. We had 42 days with dad, quality days. And, people ask, if I only had one more day. Well, we had 42. And what we felt is if we ever have the opportunity to grow this plant, we want to, because we want to give this gift to other people. And that's why we wanted to do it. It was, it changed our lives. It changed how we said goodbye to dad. So we were all in. So we had the opportunity that year in 2016 to grow hemp with all the promises that come with it. Oh, we got a market. We can take care of it. And we took it hook, line, and sinker. And of course, everything we were told didn't come to fruition. So we had to learn the hard way. Every time we would hit a bar, they would say, oh no, now you need to do this. So we
on the regulatory side.
No, on the growth side, on the processing side, they said grow it, we got to market, and that came harvest time. They said, oh no, you got to harvest it, you got to dry it, and we're figuring it out on the fly. We had 18 acres of it that year, and like a Christmas tree field, it's beautiful. And then once we had the dry biomass, they said, oh no, you got to make oil. So we started making oil. That's how we got into it. Put it in one of the old sheds, on the farm. And, it's just every time we get somewhere, we find something better we need to do, or some changes we need to do. But it's gotten us to where we are today. And
yeah. So where is that, Giovanna? What big lessons have you learned about the crop and the product and the market? What have you? What are the big lessons that have come out of doing this for the last, like you said, 4 years, 2016?
Yeah, they've been growing for 4 years. I came on and started working with the Iversons. Well, in conjunction, it's been about 1.5 years.
Okay.
And then for them, we're at this is my second season. So yeah, a slightly different angle, but very driven by the same motivation. I would say that this is a very dynamic situation. So there's a lot to be learned, and a lot of it does go back to quality and how it can help people. And that's kind of where we are in terms of setting those standards and kind of continuing to use those motivations and goals to continue to push this forward. And that is a lot of what Global Gap, wants. They're there for developing standards, creating community, higher quality of life. So it worked out in parallel and helping us kind of drive, and we want to continue pushing that forward in the years to come and next season.
Yeah. So me as a consumer, what are the things that I need to know when I'm looking at CBD other than, redbarnhemp.com or something? What else am I looking for? How do I know, how do I identify quality?
Well, some of that's hard because, I mean, trusted brands, of course, but the labeling information is so vague. And right now, you can't make any claims. You can't say what's in it or how much you're not supposed to. You can get in trouble for that. So, really, the FDA needs to step up and make some rules. We're begging for rules.
Yeah.
Representative Schrader has a bill in, I think 8179, that actually makes it a dietary supplement, which puts it under the dietary supplement rules.
But you can list a lot of ingredients in dietary. I mean, I look at the back of a protein powder, it's loaded with exact things of what's in it. And it can say organic, it can say a lot of stuff. Okay.
And dosage, even dosage is hard to do right now.
Mm-hmm.
To get that advice. I mean, we tell a lot of people verbally because you can't put a lot of stuff on the label. So that's been really hard. And so people have tried the product and it doesn't work, or there's other issues going on, or there's no CBD at all. You can go to some of the feed stores and you'll find a CBD product for an animal that's made out of hemp seed oil. Well, there's no CBD in hemp seed oil.
Yeah.
But
that's just a food product at that point. That's just olive oil. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no CBD, so it's not going to work. Of course, it's not going to work. So, that's been the hard part through all of this, and that's allowed a lot of small companies that really shouldn't be in the market.
Yeah. And so, I think that piggybacking off of what she's saying, the more that we can use these quality standards and start to integrate these third-party certifications into our process, it starts to build that infrastructure for quality and for trust, and for people who would go in and purchase a product off the shelf, they can technically have the USA organic certification on that, or CGMP, or Global Gap on the hemp that's being sold to them. So those are the things that they're going to hopefully build trust and start to move people in the direction of understanding what product they're getting. So
so what's next as you look out the next, I know it's year to year, like there's no magic mirror to kind of predict the future, but if you had to say in the next 3 or 4 years, what's the hemp market going to look like? What is that? And how are you guys positioning yourselves to be in the best place? Big question for a Friday afternoon.
But also, I don't know. I think that, we're coming off of the year 2020 where we hoped a lot more would have been accomplished. So let's start there. We're hoping that, there's, the MORE Act is in place right now, or they're trying to push that. I think if we move into the direction where more states are moving in the legalization of marijuana, I think that's going to open it up a lot too. That's not.
Does that necessarily always have to come first?
No, but it pushes the plant into a direction that they have to look at. They have to develop these guidelines. And
they have to, and then they have to distinguish that's a hemp plant versus a marijuana plant, and I can distinguish those instead of going, it's all marijuana and it's all.
And I don't, we're not sitting here promoting it. It's just kind of the reality that we're looking at, and it's kind of the direction that a lot of states are moving. So coming off of, recent transitions in different states with that, I think we're going to continue to see that open up. I think we're going to continue to see these things being challenged, and I think that these guidelines are going to get put in place sooner than later, and what those are still to be determined, but we're going to follow suit as best we can with this high quality.
Yeah, but at least you can adapt to something instead of what game you're playing, instead of just throwing a ball out and going maybe this, maybe that. Yeah, Barbara, how do you look at the future?
Well, I think it'll be pretty bright. I think the next year or two may be a little tough as things get settled. I know there's a lot of processors, a lot of growers that are not either they're not growing, or they've gone out of business, or the processors have gone out of business. A lot of that, a lot of money went into this industry a year ago when it was riding high, and we're in a different scenario right now. So we kind of see the fallout occurring right now, and I think that'll continue here for the short term. I think it'll steady itself in another year. Things will be good. I don't think there'll be much hemp grown in Oregon this year. I look at the Midwest, the fiber I think will take off. I think there'll be some infrastructure investment in the Midwest, which would be perfect. We don't need it here. We can't grow enough acres, but in the Midwest, they can grow the seed and fiber there, and I think that'll be a huge market to come. I'm hoping there's investment dollars into that, because that's the renewable. You can make a lot of plastics out of fiber, and it's out of fiber, or out of the hemp fiber, not using the oil. So
Paper companies are starting to look at it. Yeah,
Oh,
there's a lot. There's
Yeah.
a lot.
Because Henry Ford made a car out of hemp. It was heavier. I mean, it was stronger than steel, and it was lighter weight.
Mhm.
But he made one or two is all he ever made, and then he must have been buddies with somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, that is going to be an interesting thing as people start looking for different, alternatives to petroleum,
Yes.
and things that we can grow
Mhm.
in here, and then how, process here, and so we don't have to ship it back and forth. But you kind of see Oregon's maintaining itself as a oil place. You don't really see the fiber entering here.
Our acreage, our rotations, I don't see it, but and the plants grow so well here, and the oil does. I mean, we produce such quality oil compared to other areas in the country that we see this, at least in the Willamette Valley West side, maybe east side too, but as quality oil production.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for chatting about this, and we're really excited for you guys. And Barb, you come up in conversation all the time with Segcor about what great work you guys do, and your tulips and everything else. So you're the shining example of how to run a good farm. So we appreciate everything you do.
We're going to have an incredible festival this year, and people are,
I'm going up in that hot air balloon, I promise.
Oh, awesome. Good.
About that a lot. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good Friday. We'll talk to you later.
All right.
Sounds
Thank you.
good.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Bye.